When a woman doesn't truly love a man but wants control, she doesn't always use anger, force, or rejection. Her weapon is confusion. She knows that if a man is uncertain about where he stands, constantly questioning her words, her actions, and her intentions, she automatically gains power. Confusion is subtle but effective because it keeps a man chasing, investing, and doubting himself. One day she is warm, affectionate, and seemingly all in, the next day, she is distant, cold, and detached. That inconsistency isn't random, it is calculated to destabilize a man, to make him question his worth, and to trap him in a cycle where the highs feel euphoric but the lows feel crushing. The man doesn't walk away because he is hooked on the emotional roller coaster, he believes there is a way to figure her out or earn clarity, when in reality, the game is designed to keep him off balance. Real love does not rely on ambiguity or uncertainty. True affection, commitment, and care provide clarity and consistency. If a woman truly desires a man, her words align with her actions. There are no sudden withdrawals, no unnecessary tests, no push-pull of affection. When you are left questioning yourself, constantly replaying conversations in your head, and analyzing every gesture and text, it is not love, it is manipulation. Understanding that confusion is not accidental but intentional is the first step toward reclaiming your power. It allows you to see the dynamic clearly, recognize your own energy being drained, and begin the process of stepping away from games that serve her control rather than mutual respect and emotional honesty. The sooner you identify confusion as a weapon, the sooner you stop giving it power over you. The deeper a man stays in the cycle of confusion, the more trapped he becomes. He begins to rationalize her behavior, convincing himself that her coldness is stress, her distance is just a phase, or her contradictions are signs of complexity he should patiently navigate. Every day he spends analyzing her messages, replaying conversations in his mind, or trying to predict her reactions, he reinforces the very power she holds over him. Men often think the solution is effort, more calls, more texts, more reassurances, more patience. They believe if they just prove their loyalty or understanding, she will finally stop the games and show her true feelings. But this is the exact trap. Confusion is not a problem to fix, it is the game itself, carefully designed to keep him investing his time and energy while she maintains control. When a man is uncertain, he hesitates, waits for clarity, and loses his natural confidence. That hesitation is exactly what she thrives on. Her power grows as his diminishes. The more he tries to untangle the contradictions, the more he teaches her that she can pull away, withhold affection, or act inconsistently, and he will still show up, waiting for her to validate him. This is why so many men fail, they think persistence will earn love, when all it earns is continued manipulation. The only way to break free is radical self-respect. It is the refusal to chase answers, the refusal to justify her behavior, and the refusal to compromise your energy and standards for someone who intentionally thrives on uncertainty. Once a man recognizes that confusion is deliberate and not a reflection of his worth, he can step out of the trap. He can begin to prioritize clarity, peace, and mutual respect over temporary highs created by inconsistent affection. Freedom begins the moment he stops giving power to her manipulation. Confusion doesn't just manipulate a man's emotions, it hijacks his mind. The constant push and pull of affection and distance creates a cycle that rewires his thinking. Every time she withdraws, he feels emptiness, every time she returns with warmth, he experiences a high that makes him crave more. This cycle keeps him hooked, addicted to moments of clarity that are fleeting and unpredictable. He goes to bed replaying her tone, wakes up imagining what her silence means, and spends hours analyzing messages, gestures, and interactions. While he is trapped in this mental loop, she remains in control, effortlessly maintaining her emotional leverage. At first, a man might attempt to confront the inconsistencies, set boundaries, or demand clarity, thinking this will stabilize the relationship. But when the confusion persists, he begins rationalizing her behavior, telling himself, she's complicated. She just needs time. I just need to be patient. Each rationalization lowers his standards while simultaneously teaching her that she can continue manipulating him without consequence. His loyalty, patience, and attention become the very tools she uses to reinforce her power. What he perceives as love is actually conditioning, his mind has become trained to seek her approval and validate her actions, regardless of how inconsistent or controlling they are. The highs feel euphoric precisely because the lows feel unbearable, and this is what keeps him chasing. The addiction isn't about her personality or charm, it's about the cycle itself, the predictable unpredictability that consumes his mental energy and erodes his self-respect. Recognizing this cycle is critical because effort, patience, or overthinking will never break it. The key to freedom lies in stepping out of the loop, refusing to chase, and refusing to invest energy where manipulation thrives, reclaiming both clarity and control over one's own mind. Confusion is not only a weapon used against a man, it is also a mirror reflecting how much control he has over himself. When a man obsesses over her inconsistencies, replays her words in his mind, and doubts his own judgment, he gives her the power to dominate the relationship without even trying. Her silence, her withdrawal, her contradictions, they only matter if he allows them to matter. The deeper truth is that women intuitively test men's emotional stability. They are wired to sense whether a man is grounded, composed, and unshakable in his own frame. If he crumbles under uncertainty, she knows he lacks strength and control. But if he remains calm, unaffected, and detached, she senses a different energy altogether, one that commands respect and subtly challenges her power. This is why self-mastery is non-negotiable. A man who has built his inner foundation does not react to every fluctuation in her behavior. He does not overanalyze, he does not chase, and he does not seek constant reassurance. His value and confidence come from within, not from her approval. In this state, confusion loses its potency. What once destabilized him becomes transparent and almost laughable. He sees her patterns for what they are, and he responds not with frustration or pleading, but with deliberate clarity and composure. She may still attempt to manipulate, but her attempts fail because they are met with unwavering self-respect rather than desperation. The power shifts naturally when a man understands that the only control she can ever have is the control he allows. By mastering his own mind, his own frame, and his own emotions, he creates a space where her confusion cannot penetrate, where her games no longer hold leverage, and where his clarity becomes his greatest advantage. Self-mastery is the shield that turns manipulation into irrelevance. The moment a man steps out of the trap of confusion, the dynamic begins to shift. The woman who once thrived on ambiguity now experiences uncertainty herself. Suddenly, she wonders why he no longer chases, why he does not seek validation, why he remains unaffected by her withdrawal or contradictions. The roles reverse, the hunter becomes the hunted, the controller becomes the controlled. This is the paradox of power in relationships. Strength creates respect, while uncertainty creates control. By refusing to react, by refusing to chase, the man reclaims his energy and his self-worth. He no longer gives her the leverage to manipulate him through inconsistency because he does not depend on her approval or clarity to feel secure in himself. This shift in power is not about revenge or manipulation, it is about embodying a grounded, unshakable presence that cannot be swayed by emotional chaos. She may attempt to regain control, test his patience, or pull back affection, but these tactics no longer work. In fact, she feels the disorientation she once caused in him, and that creates a new kind of respect or fear of loss. The man who has mastered himself does not need to play games because he has transcended them. His clarity, composure, and unwavering self-respect make the confusion ineffective. The outcomes are both beneficial. If she rises to meet his authenticity, the relationship can become honest, balanced, and meaningful. If she chooses to walk away, he has protected his energy and avoided years of frustration and manipulation. Either way, the man wins because he no longer sacrifices his peace for the hope of temporary highs. Power is no longer given to her, it resides entirely within him, and that is the true measure of victory in the face of confusion. The modern man struggles because he has been conditioned to believe that love requires constant reassurance, endless explanations, and fixing every moment of doubt. He believes that by over-communicating, analyzing, or trying harder, he can untangle confusion and earn clarity. But this mindset is precisely what keeps him trapped in her games. The man who truly wins does not attempt to control, manipulate, or decode her behavior. He does not obsess over every word, replay conversations in his mind, or prove his worth repeatedly. Instead, he understands that silence, distance, and inconsistency are not problems to fix, they are answers in themselves. He accepts reality as it is, without demanding validation or seeking explanations. His sense of value and purpose comes from within, rooted in his actions, his principles, and the way he lives, not in her approval. This is the foundation of true power and self-mastery. By embodying this clarity, he maintains his peace while she spins in her own contradictions. She may attempt to test him, withdraw, or confuse, but none of it affects him because he no longer allows it to touch his inner state. He does not play games because he has moved beyond them. Authenticity becomes his shield, composure becomes his standard, and self-respect becomes non-negotiable. When she senses that he is untouchable by her manipulations, she is forced to either show up genuinely or walk away. Either outcome is a victory because he has preserved his dignity, energy, and emotional independence. The man who lives in truth, who refuses to chase answers or react to chaos, achieves what so few do, a life anchored in self-mastery, clarity, and freedom, unaffected by confusion, and empowered to attract respect and authenticity in every relationship he chooses to engage in.